Hello friends, welcome to Dr. Rajesh Verma's YouTube channel. Today's topic of discussion is bodily changes during emotions. Dear friends, the emotions are physiological arousal. There is a internal, you can say a storm that occurs during the experience and manifestation of emotions. So what that storm does with our body? What are the brain parts? What are the your various systems responsible for the changes that occurs during the emotional state? So what changes? Bodily change, internal as well as external. So we are going to discuss these things. As customary we do in our videos, that is, we'll go for a brief introduction, then we'll separately discuss our internal changes as well as the external changes. So it's a very interesting video and it's a very interesting topic too, because the emotions are, as I told you, it's an ornament of human behavior. Because without emotions, human behavior is dull. It's a meaningless. It's a no beauty attached with it. That is, it's like that. That emotions create a sense of your behavior. Getting more point? So let us start with our today's discussion, that is the bodily changes during emotions. See, these are three images in front of you which clearly depicts with facial expressions you can identify which type of emotions these individuals are experiencing. These two child, they are struggling with each other. There's a family sitting with their one child, and there's an individual smiling, and the smile is with closed lips. So these images in fact uh, are representative of various emotional states, and during these emotional states what internal changes goes inside our body, that we are going to discuss here. Not only internal changes, we are going to discuss external changes too. So we'll moving to our topic, that is brief introduction. See this baby sitting in a bathtub and playing with the ball that is inside the tub. See the face, the cute face of this baby, the eyes, the changes in his lip style, the cheeks, eyebrows, eyelids, and pupils. Everything. This is a external changes during their emotional states. So we'll be discussing all these things. So let us move. What is brief introduction? The experience and expression are the two aspects of emotions. It's a very true thing. Experience is connected with internal body activities, while expression is with external, which are attributed to physiological arousal. The internal changes are subjective conscious feelings, and the external changes are the specific response patterns meant for others and self. Here one thing I want need explanation is the external changes which occurs in our body due to our emotional states, that is meant for us as well as for others too. So first, what is the meaning of that external changes for us or for self? That is self in the form of biofeedback, because this biofeedback is to complete the psychoneurophysiological cycle. In emotional state there is one cycle is involved, that involve the three aspects, three domains, that is psychological domain, neurological domain, and physiological domain. So to complete that cycle we need to have expressions, and these expressions are a source of biofeedback to human beings, and for that we need these expressions and for self. That's why the emotions are very important for the self. And why they are important for others? Means other, who are the others other than self? The individual, the social beings, or your relatives, your friends, or your other ones which are in around you. So what your emotions play a role for them, because when you experience an emotion, there is a physiological arousal inside your body, then you experience an emotion. For that you have to express too. These expressions also, autonomic expressions also come out by virtue of your physiological arousal. These have meaning for others. What is the meaning of for others? It's a way of transformation of feelings into body language or non-verbal cues for communication. Means when we express our emotions through our body language, that is a part of communication. We want to communicate to others for that we are feeling or we are experiencing a particular emotion. That's the important part. So here, dear friends, is very clear. Emotions, there are two parts, plays important role for that is first part is called as experience and second is expression. So the both are important. Experience and expression are important for self as well as for us others. So the next part is the bodily or physiological changes. The internal changes, we can call it the bodily changes or physiological changes or internal changes, are based on the activation of autonomic nervous system. So here the autonomic nervous system is a very important part that plays a most significant and prominent role in emotional experience as well as expressions. The sympathetic, it has two parts, that is sympathetic as well as parasympathetic. So the sympathetic nervous system, that part of autonomic nervous system, is responsible for generalized physiological arousal in response to emotion provoking stimuli or situation. So when you feel or when you experience in a situation, when you are in a situation that is a provoking, or there is a stimuli that is a provoking, that accelerates or through your that information enters through your body, through your senses, then from that you get the message and your autonomic system, nervous system, that is a sympathetic nervous system part of ANS activated. That activation accelerates the various body organs and that leads to internal body changes. The activation is set in motion by the information received by sense organs, which I told you. The received information travels through brain to various internal organs and setting up I forgot one point is it's set up an involuntary chain reaction throughout the body. A time of change reaction of physiological changes or bodily changes. So this is the result of activation of sympathetic nervous system and these changes are involuntary. Then we'll be moving the next part. The interesting aspect of emotional response is that the internal changes are more or less similar in a different type of emotional experience. It's a very interesting thing. We'll discuss in detail this point that when we experience different type of emotions, the internal bodily changes or physiological changes are almost similar. So, what are that? We'll be discussing next in the next slide. The only difference lies in the facial expressions and affiliated body language. This is very important. When we'll go to the next slide, I'm very curious to go to the next slide and explain this phenomena that in various different emotional states, our physiological arousal is similar, almost similar, whereas facial expressions or affiliated body language is entirely different. How this we achieve through, and what are the factors that are responsible for this differential aspect of human behavior. So we'll be discussing in detail. So the symptoms, for example, take the case of anger and fear. Yeah, when you experience the emotion of anger or you fear or some fear, the symptoms of both the emotions are similar, yet experience and facial expressions are different. What are the symptoms? The internal symptoms are almost similar, but where the difference lies? Difference lies in your facial expression, body language, and your experience of your emotions. So emotions generate following two types of bodily changes, that is internal as well as external. Now see, this image is a very beautiful image. See mother, this mother is trying to grasp that baby and see the face, see the eyes of this baby, because this is intense love. Love that is boundless love without no meaning, that is no boundaries or no limits. That is known as selfless motherly love, which that depicts in this image. A baby is lucky enough. So let us move to the next. What are the internal body changes? So these are accelerated by the sympathetic nervous system, as I told you, and brought back to normalcy by the parasympathetic nervous system. First bodily changes when we experience an emotional state, that is increase in heart rate. So this image is showing your heart, location of your heart. Heart rate increases during, why it increases? Let me explain you. During emotional states, the adrenaline hormones are released that prepares body for fight or flight. Getting my point? The hormonal release increases supply of electric pulses to the heart. See, there is a sinus node. That sinus node regularly supplies electric pulses to the heart and to maintain the optimal movement of the heart, or you can say rhythm of the heart. The adrenaline increase, what it do is it increases supply of, it activates the sinus node. In subsequently that sinus node increases the supply of electric pulses to the human heart, and consequently leading to increase in the heart rate. So to maintain the oxygen second part, this heart rate, what this heart rate do? Because this increased heart rate is very essential to maintain the oxygen supply to the muscles. The heart need to beat faster, because in the emotional state you need more oxygen. For that you need more blood circulation, and for that your heart has to work faster. That's the reason why during emotional state the heart rate increases. Second part, if blood pressure increases, what is the blood pressure? That blood pressure, the movement of the blood applies some pressure on the internal walls of the arteries or veins. Due to that, there is a pressure is felt in the body. So that is you call it the blood pressure. This is a very crude definition. I am not going to go discuss the detail. These the biology people or physiology people or physical education people. They'll explain what is blood pressure, how it is increased or decreased, and what's its role. But how, here in psychological science, the role of blood pressure is here in emotional state. So naturally, if heart rate increases, the supply of the blood also increases, and that consequently improves the or increases the blood pressure. The second internal change during the bodily changes is the increase in the blood pressure. The third part, the respiration becomes rapid, means the breathing rate also increases. How it increases? Let me explain to you. During friends, during emotional state, the muscles consume more energy, because they are bound to consume more energy to meet the physiological arousal needs. For that, that leads to higher production of carbon dioxide inside the, because there is more energy is burnt out, so there is more production of carbon dioxide. To flush it out the more carbon dioxide, the lungs have to function at rapid rate, consequently increasing the respiration rate. Getting my point? Why the heart has to, that lungs has to work faster? To flush out the excessive carbon dioxide that generates due to excessive burn of the energy, and the energy required to meet the emotional arousal, that physiological arousal. So that is the point. The fourth part is pupils dilate. See, this is the image. See, dilated pupil. Pupils control the, what is the why the pupils dilate and what's its function. Let me tell you. The pupils control the amount of light that enters into our eyes. It is suggested that during emotional arousal, body needs enhanced visual field, which is provided by the dilation of pupils. The pupils reflect the extent of mental effort in an incredibly precise way. That is the sentence said by the Daniel Kahneman. In simple language, I'll let you know why pupils dilate. Suppose during physiological arousal, your muscles are tensed, your heart rate increased, already increased, blood pressure is increased. Means there is a special requirement for the body. For that, your body has to have increased visual field, and increased visual field means you need to have more light has to enter inside our eyes, and for that pupils has autonomically to dilate. Getting my point? That is the reason why pupils dilate during the emotional state. So the fifth internal change is the mouth dries up. In some emotional states, mouth dries up, whereas in some it remains as it is. So it is a change. There is a change. Certainly during emotional experience, a change has to go inside your mouth. So this is a very representation of funny image. I've shown you the image of a crocodile opening her mouth. So this is not the way that when the emotional state we do that. This is not the, but this is a representation image, dear friends. What is the purpose of drying mouth? Dry mouth occurs due to changes in the composition of saliva or reduction in supply of saliva attributed to the neurological change in the brain. See, your saliva has different purposes. It mixes with your food, chewed food, and there are certain enzymes that are mixed with the food that travels to your esophagus and enters in the land up in the your stomach. It's a different thing. But for that, your the saliva producing glands needs blood supply. So during emotional state, few emotional states, you need to have more supply to your you need to have more supply of blood to your muscles, to your heart, to your other body parts. For that, body adjusts the phenomena that it draws blood from various parts that has non-essential role during emotional state, and that is salivary glands is part of that. Means there is a lesser supply of blood to the salivary glands, and that is the reason your production of saliva decreases or the composition changes. Dear friends, these changes are prompted by the emotional arousal. As I told you, the sixth part, the digestive rates increases. The digestive system has to work very faster because body needs more energy. And for to produce energy, whatever the food is left, undigested food is left in your stomach, that has to be digested faster because to meet the physiological arousal needs, that is fight or flight, you need more energy. For that, the digestive system has to work at rapid rate, and that occurs by the requirement of more blood. Means due to enhanced heart rate, the supply of blood to various organs increases. The digestive system also receives increased rate of blood supply that prompts the system to move with rapid rate. The increased digestive system rate promptly digests the food to meet the enhanced need of energy that is required. So these are, dear friends, these are the six major, that is internal body changes that occurs during the physiological arousal or emotional experience. Now what are the external body changes? See here, the first part was emotional experience. Now the second part, that is external body changes, are your expression of your emotions, that is your facial expression, your body language. These comes under the external body changes. The first part is trembling of your limbs. So this image, this image shows the limbs. Whereas this image, how I in this is a kinetic phenomena. Trembling of limbs is a kinetic phenomena which cannot be shown and manifested by the still image. But still you can experience when a child or an individual walks on a tree or on a height, we feel a trembling of our limbs. The similar phenomena occurs during the emotional experience. The trembling occurs due to adrenaline rush. The muscles shivers to generate heart to maintain the body temperature that prepares an individual for fight or flight behavior. The muscles, shivering of muscles occurs for the purpose of to generate heat, and that heat, when heat is more, the body temperature increases, and to maintain that body temperature at optimal level, the body has to prepare itself, and due to that, this occurs during the exciting or frightening events. So this is the reason why trembling of limbs occur. See, trembling is the consequent of shivering of muscles. So the second external body change is, dear friends, facial expression changes. About, you say, the image, the two, these are the two images of the two children See, this is a very wonderful image clicked by someone, and this is the same guy, same baby, smiling with a very beautiful facial expression. So, why this facial expression changes, dear friends? About 2000 years ago, Cicero said the face is the image of the soul. Means you can express, you can take an idea what an individual is thinking through the facial expressions. So the facial expressions are the best identification channel of emotions. Not only facial expressions, dear friends, sometimes we communicate with our facial expression, facial gestures, suppose just by moving your head, just by moving your eyelids to indicate someone to others. So dear friends, this is a very important communication channel, and we can only understand the not only that with we can identify emotions through our facial expression. So facial expressions are very important and significant external body change to manifest and to give meaning to your emotions. The third part is skin temperature changes. See, when we experience the emotional arousal, during that their change occurs in the temperature of your skin. So, fear is associated with decrease in skin temperature, whereas anger is found to associate with the increase in the skin temperature. These are the two simple example. Why the skin temperature changes? Because the body during physiological arousal there is a change in the body temperature, and to maintain that temperature the skin has to is the biggest organ, and it's very for that the skin has to operate and act optimally to maintain the body temperature and so that life can be maintained. That is the reason. So when the next, remember, next time if you are fearful, you can be certain that your skin temperature is lower, whereas if you are angry or that time you'll find that your skin temperature has increased. Then the fourth bodily change is the muscles get tensed. Why? I told you the major reason is the adrenaline hormone rush that prepares muscles to meet the demands of emotional challenge. Emotional challenge means what the physiological arousal. So when there is a change in the in hormonal rush or there is a physiological arousal, body has to prepare itself either to fight or flight. For that muscles has to get ready, they need more energy, they need more oxygen, and that is supplied by the various organs. For that muscle get tense, they are always ready to meet the emotional challenge or the challenge which is thrown open by the emotional experience. So next time, that's the reason when you feel some emotion, you'll that is especially when you are angry or when you are happy. When you are angry, you find that your muscles of your forearm or your bicep muscles or tricep muscles get a little bit more tense than as you are normal situation. See, these are all changes that I am discussing, internal as well as external, are prompted by the sympathetic nervous system, that is the part of autonomic nervous system. The fifth bodily change is the throbbing temples. So temple means, you know that this is the location of your temple, dear friend. This is the location. They start throbbing. There is a rapid movement on these temples. The temple is a place where all four cranial bones meet. This at this location, the all cranial four bones they meet together, fuse together here, and the middle meningeal artery is found under this temple. So this I am explaining why temple gets start throbbing. The most important artery that supply blood to your brain, sorry, not the brain, to the outer part of your brain, that is your skin and or involve the muscles and bone, that is known as meningeal artery, that is found just behind the temples in the internal part. The increase in blood pressure, as I told you, the blood pressure increases, heart rate increases. So that due to increase in the blood pressure, that induces a vibratory movement, a larger vibratory movement in this artery, leading to throbbing of temples. So that is the reason, dear friends, why the temples we feel throbbing. The increase in blood that I told you leading to the throbbing of temples. The next and the sixth part is goosebumps or pillow erection. You know what are the goosebumps? This image which is in front of you, dear friends. See, these are the you have experienced many times in your life. The hair gets erected and small you say small pimples that comes up immediately. What are that? In various emotional states, goosebumps appear due to muscular tremors. That the reason behind the development of the goosebumps is the tremors in your muscles. So this goosebumps appears all over the body. The shivering muscles lead to erection of hair bristles that creates a thin layer of air which protects the heat loss. There is a natural mechanism. Nature has given us a very important and very good mechanism to keep our skin to or our body temperature at optimal level. So this is a little bit function I need to explain you here. Muscles get shiver, they start trembling. That due to that, this goosebumps appears on body, the hair which are on the body part, body that get erected. Due to that, they prepare a thin layer of air they around the that body part and which protects the heat loss. So that due to trembling of muscles to prevent the loss of the heat from the body, nature has devised a wonderful mechanism. We call it as a goosebumps. And the dear friends, the seventh bodily change, that external change that occurs is the crying. See, this is a baby crying on the shoulder of her mother. You can see this is a facial expression. With facial expression itself, we can understand the meaning of emotion an individual is facing. So it's a natural response to emotional arousal. Crying is a natural response. As you have seen in my previous video, it's associated with autonomic, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic and somatic responses. So crying is an important facial or bodily expression to express the emotional arousal. And the eighth and almost at the last part is perspiration, sweating. The sweat glands, you can you experience sweating every day in everyday life. So here also, when you sweat, such about droplets that generates on your body. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Sweat glands. How many sweat glands we have? Can anyone? Yes, you are 100% right. It is 40 lakh, or you call it 4 million sweat glands we have, are found throughout our body. Emotional arousal, if you have, there is a emotional arousal provoking some stimuli. Due to that, when you experience an emotional arousal, what they do is increases the body temperature, which needs to be maintained at constant level. You know, more energy is burnt inside your body. For that, more heat is produced. What for that? Body temperature rises, but body can function within a limited range of temperature. So that to maintain that optimal temperature for the survival, what is to be done is what that the sympathetic nervous system activates the eccrine sweat glands. Eccrine sweat glands, and what these do is they pump out the colorless and very filtered water from the body through the sweat glands and through the this hair bristles, from the roots of the hair bristles, and these glands releases water that I told you to cool down the body for by evaporation. This is a natural phenomena how to cool the body by evaporation. Dear friends, this is a perspiration, and these are the internal as well as the external body changes that occurs during the physiological arousal. So dear friends, these are my references. You can always cross check them and you can study further from where I've taken this my material. And next video we are going to discuss James Lange's theory of emotions. Dear friends, if you love this video, if you like this video, you can. How will I come to know that you like this video? That is, I'll come to know through your expressions. But I cannot see your expressions. But you can convert it, transform your expressions through your writings. And that is through in my comment box. Or you can email me your emotional expressions, emotional feelings regarding this video through my email, that is varmasujit@yahoo.com. Dear friends, one more request. If you like this video, you share with your friends. You share with your emotions with your friends. But if you dislike it, That emotional state kindly share with me, because that your emotional state will help me in improving our next video. Certainly, I am very thankful to my friends. They are writing comments, they are writing emails to me and giving their feedback. For that, I am constantly improving my videos for your sake. Dear friends, for this, watching this video, thank you from the core of my heart.